Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about differences in generations and how things hit different for different generations and why. Why there are different responses to different things. And we're going to go through it because I got a message and I'm going to read the relevant part of the message, removing personally identifying information and stuff. You sounded very different in your videos about people starving, and it was scary, but I didn't know why. Somebody in the comments said that we've seen you angry and we've seen you amused, but we've never seen you desperate before. That's what it was. Then other people were down there talking about using helicopters and different boats or planes. It just seemed different, like a collective shift. When I was watching your video, my mom stopped when she was walking by and listened. She doesn't care about the news at all. Later, I heard her on the phone talking to her friend about how, quote, they had to feed those people. Her friend was agreeing. Later, I talked to her about it, and she was visibly upset. This woman does not care about any of this normally at all. No offense, but WTF. Why is the response to hunger so much different from old people comparing to what's been happening? Why does this hit boomers different? I'm glad, but seriously, WTF. First, because I have to say it, I am not a boomer. So, it's not boomers. It's not boomers. You know, a long time ago, I saw a video, and it was teaching you to view people as kind of increments of time. People are influenced by things that occurred throughout their life, sometimes without them ever realizing it. You're not talking about boomers. You are talking about some Gen X and older millennials. That's who you're talking about, really. Because things were different when we were growing up. It was not uncommon for families to sit together and watch the evening news. It wasn't uncommon to watch the evening news while eating dinner. Sometimes eating those microwave dinners, and you're waiting for the permission to eat that horrible brownie that for some reason we thought was so delicious, watching children in Ethiopia starve, wondering why your parents couldn't do anything about it. Same way you are now. It was 83 to 85, but the coverage went on for years. The coverage went on for years, and that footage was up for years. To this day, there is still no accurate accounting of how many were lost. The low end of the estimates is 300,000. The high end was 1.2 million. I would imagine that that's what it has to do with. Even if people don't realize that's why it hits different. It will be a shift. It will be a shift. There's something about it that is certainly burned into people's psyches. When it comes to famine, that's not something that that block of people, those who had that experience, who were influenced in that way, that they're going to be willing to accept. I would imagine that if the media had footage of what's happening in Sudan right now up on the screens all the time, you would have people clamoring to provide aid. But I guess there's not enough celebrities who want to get together and sing "We Are the World." That's what it is. this is your moral injury. This is your moment when you truly begin to understand how horrible and brutal the world can be. For you, yeah, when you were growing up, Iraq, Afghanistan, that was the status quo. The whole time you were growing up, it wasn't anything new. So you probably tuned it out. Everybody becomes aware of the world at a different point in time and in different ways. This is probably your moral injury. Hopefully, that means that the thing your age block, will not accept is military operations in urban areas. That would be a good lesson for the world. That would be a good thing to hold on to. The reality of famine hitting and those images coming out, it will shift things. It will be a collective shift. And yeah, there are people who might have been complacent, like your mom, about everything else going on, because that same block, very desensitized to war, to conflict, to civilian casualties. Very desensitized to it. But hunger is something else. It manifests in different ways. You know, your generation, I've heard the joke so many times, and it still, to this day, I always it gives me pause when y'all joke about making friends with the quiet kid in class just in case. It's unnerving. The same way that the generation that is going to be swayed by famine jokes about nuclear war, and anytime there's even a mention of it, my inbox fills up with questions from your generation. Famine will tip scales. It will change things. Collective shift might be the right term. And it is because it does indeed hit different. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.